You know what, Sam?
What?
Only 3 games left on this road trip.
That's rad. All right, we're back with another episode of the Caniac Report. And yes, Sam, first things first, before we even get into hockey, we are just covering the Edmonton game. By the time this episode releases, of course, the Calgary game is already done. And also, by the time we're recording this too, we're doing this before the Calgary game on Thursday. So we're not covering that, unfortunately. Too late in the
Well,
game.
we
Yeah.
both value sleep, so.
And work.
I don't know if I value
Okay, we
work.
we va- we,
I
val- we
value
value
I value
sleep.
my paycheck.
We value paycheck, work, all this type of stuff. To each his own. That's what I say.
Yes, but we are gonna watch the game.
Oh yeah, we definitely are. It's just it'd be very difficult for us to do this at pretty much midnight,
Yeah.
Sam, because they'd be seeing two tired Sams
Yeah.
if they were watching us on YouTube. And yes, we are on YouTube, so please like the video and hit that subscribe button
Yep.
if you haven't, because
Yep.
we really recommend that, don't we, Sam?
Yes, we do. We do recommend that. And Sam, I'll also just say this as a PSA because we're both Hurricaniacs, but we're Americans first. Early voting's open in North Carolina. Sam and I believe in that tradition as a duty to get out and vote. Vote your conscience, but make sure you vote because that is your duty as Americans to get that done. And Sam and I support this great country of ours and want everybody to take part in that tradition.
Yes, definitely. And now let's eventually get into some hockey, Sam. So, quite a bit of stuff came out recently around the league. One of which is St. Louis made a transaction with signing Jake Neighbors to a 2-year, 3.75 million dollar contract. And Sam, I thought that was kind of a well earned contract because I thought he played pretty good against us when we lost to St. Louis.
Yeah, it's a good deal. I think that could end up being a really good deal for the Blues, especially if he ends up being a solid player. So it's a bridge deal. See if he earns more on his next one, but just keep playing well. You're on a team they're a decent team. I don't think St. Louis is a bad team, but I'm sure they're hoping to get better, and they'll
Yeah.
keep getting
Well,
better.
I will admit I probably underestimated them just a little bit heading into that St. Louis game, because they're a good team. They
Yeah,
really
they
are.
did a good job. So we'll see what happens with the Blues out west.
Yes, definitely. It's going to be a tight division. It really is. And another thing too, Sam, is I mentioned this to you, I think possibly a couple nights ago, but the NHL has decided to cancel the award show. And from what I have heard from, I believe, Elliot Friedman, is that they're trying to do something new, something unique. I'm all for it, but I do think with him canceling the award show, I do think it's somewhat good just because not a lot of people are interested in that,
No,
to
I
be
mean
honest.
it became uninteresting a while ago, so it's just part of the reality that we've got going on here. So end it, cancel it, do something different. I don't care. It really didn't get a lot of views. It's not like it's the NFL or the NBA. Again, just the reality of the situation is those are more popular leagues in the NHL. So they'll get more attention for their awards show. I am not broken up about it. I doubt the players are too, honestly. They don't care about those awards. They care about one award.
Yeah, true. And I think a good example of that, remember that one award show where, what was it, Tampa got knocked out in the first round against Columbus? And they were really going hard at Tampa, that one award show. I remember looking at Vasilevsky. He looked so stoic, and you can just tell that they were frustrated because they didn't win the Stanley Cup. They don't care about these awards. I mean, it's nice to have them.
Sure.
I don't think it's bad to win
No,
the.
I love the awards. I don't think you need the show. I mean, to be fair, they announce most of the awards now anyway before the show. So there's no real point in having it. Just announce them all kind of dribs and drabs throughout the playoffs is what I would do. And then that's it. And then if you want to do something else, do something else. But
Yeah, have it after games, maybe. Maybe that'd be better.
Sure. I mean, again, I don't care. It's not a big deal. So I don't think
Yeah, well, it's
Hurricanes
kind of
always
easy
get
to say
snubbed in
that.
those. Hurricanes always get snubbed in those awards anyway. So not like we care.
It's kind of easy to say that considering we're Hurricane fans. Unless Jacob Slavin wins an award. But at this point, I
Too
don't
late. He
think.
already committed a penalty, so he's not going to win the Lady Byng Trophy.
Yeah, yeah, true. But I mean, I don't think we'd be surprised if Slavin won another award just
No.
because he's a proven elite defenseman.
Well, he's not going to win the Norris because he doesn't score.
No, and I mean, Sam, I know you advocated this. I advocate this as well. I think they need to have a trophy for the best defensive defenseman because
Yeah.
obviously the Norris goes to the best offensive defenseman.
Yeah, change one to have one be the best offensive defenseman, and then have one be the best defensive defenseman. And just I think that makes a lot of sense. Name it whatever. I don't care, but I think that to me that just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does too, or at least make it to where if the player that wins the Norris Trophy excels or excels defensively as well. Don't just make it all about points. And
Yep.
they kind of make it mostly about points, Sam.
Sadly, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And the next thing, Sam, is Paul Maurice might be a little bit happy because down in Florida, the Panthers, the Stanley Cup defending champions, have extended Paul Maurice to a multi-year extension. I believe it was 5 years. I could be wrong about that.
Yep, got a multi-year extension after you win a Stanley Cup. I think you've earned it. Let's see who messed that up. The Caps, right? They win a Stanley Cup and instead they let him go. So they
Barry
took a
Trotz.
lesson. Yeah, they took a lesson out of the Capitals' mistakes, and they signed their head coach who won them a Stanley Cup. In my mind, I only believe that coaches who win Stanley Cups earn extensions like that because you've proven yourself incapable of winning a cup.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and I think you
May
deserve
or may
some recognition of extension if you're able to take the team to a next step.
Sure, but if you want it, but again, if all you can do is just get to the playoffs, maybe you
Yeah,
aren't.
yep, I know.
Maybe you
Trust me.
aren't earning a massive extension. Good for you. We're the Toronto. Good for you. You're the Toronto Maple Leafs, and look how many coaches they've had. Just saying.
Yeah, true. But the next thing is this happened today, Sam. But the Vegas Golden Knights, they signed a massive extension with probably one of my favorite defensemen, at least because I love Shea Theodore. A 7 years, $7.4 million contract.
I don't know if I would have done that deal.
Sorry,
I don't think I would have done that deal if I'm Vegas.
really?
Mm-mm. That's too long and too high of a cap hit for me for an older defenseman. But yeah, Sam, he's an older defenseman. It's a long-term deal. I don't know. And if I'm like other teams, I think it makes sense. But Vegas just their cap situation isn't exactly the most envious one in the league. So I don't know. I don't know if they're in a position to be making those kind of deals for players that are of that age group when they probably should start to look at maybe investing in the youth.
I agree.
Not
I'm just
saying he's
trying.
not worth that contract. I'm saying if I'm Vegas, I don't know if I can make that deal when you have, I think, Jack Eichels, who isn't too far away from an extension either. So I I thought there were more priorities for Vegas to deal with. Again, like if I'm Arizona or if I'm Anaheim, San Jose, uh, a team that needs defense like Toronto or something, that deal might make more sense there. I don't know if it makes sense in a team that's literally in cap hell like Vegas is, who has to utilize LTIR almost every year. It's almost guaranteed that Mark Stone's going to get hurt around the trade deadline. Almost guaranteed. It's like clockwork. gets hurt, out, comes back in the playoffs. They need LTIR for them to make things work. And I think wasn't Shea Theodore hurt a good chunk of last
Yeah,
season
he
as
was
well?
hurt. He was, but I still think he's a really good defenseman.
No, he is. Again, just hard for me to justify something like that when it's a tough situation. They're in a tough situation with the cap, and it's hard. You got to make tough choices. I'm curious what this means for Jack Eichel.
I mean, I agree with you there. I'm kind of looking at their salary situation right now, including Shea Theodore. When it comes to the players that they have extended for longer than 3 seasons, 5 players. So I'm guessing they did this just to shore up some certainty. But that only leaves them with $17 million in cap space for next year. So, I mean, just looking at the players that they are needing to resign for next year.
Because when's Eichel up? Isn't he 2 years from now? So not
Yeah,
this.
he's
This
two.
not this year, but next year.
Um, yes, correct. 2 years left. Victor Olofsson, Alexander Holtz. Actually, I mean, not a lot of notable players. Oh, you know what? Aiden Hill and Ilya Samsonov.
Well,
Aiden
I
Hill.
don't. I don't know if Ilya Samsonov stays, but Aiden Hill maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. We've seen worse cap situation. I think if you look at Toronto, I think that's a worse cap situation compared to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the reason why I said Toronto for Shea Theodore is just because that's a need. Like they could move on from Marner, Nylander, or Tavares and replace it with Shea Theodore. So, right,
But the
as a
thing is,
need.
they're not going to.
No, because they're stupid. Because they need to move on from one of those players to become a realistic contender. Because they need
Yeah,
to add
I
a
agree.
solid defenseman.
You hearing something, Sam?
No, my
You had
dog
your
is.
head going up.
No, my dog's just being stupid.
No.
She's not used to the fan being off, and she sees like shadows.
Oh,
And
really?
yes, so when she sees shadows, she starts to growl. So if you hear growling, I apologize.
Hmm. Penny, the mascot for the Caniac Report, right, Sam?
Yeah, she's the mascot. She's just a bit odd.
She's just a bit odd.
Yeah, you're a bit
She's a
odd,
golden
huh?
retriever.
Yeah, golden retrievers are interesting dogs.
Yes, they are. But that's pretty much it for league-wide news, Sam. And the next thing is Hurricanes news. Not really much. I kind of wanted to be fun, though, a little bit with the Hurricanes news thing. Uh, but the last game, obviously, we're covering the Edmonton game. This was the first game that we get to see where we watched the FanDuel Sports Network, not
Hmm.
Bali anymore. And I don't think there's much of a difference, Sam. Just kind of
No,
what your input on that.
no. I mean, just the hope here is when you have a big company like that take over, any of the glitches go away. So even if aesthetically it's the same, if the glitches go away, I can live with that.
Same here.
Like I don't need it to be. Look, I still like Fox Sports more just because I like the music. I liked it in general more than Bally Sports, but it's fine. Like again, it's fine if we get this and FanDuel Sports Network takes care of all the glitches. I could live with it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, another thing too, and I'm kind of nitpicking at this a little bit, but I mean, you look at that FanDuel logo. I think it's a very nice logo, and
Yeah.
I think the rendition of the app, the cover is fantastic. It's just funny because when you go into the app, it's it's Bali,
Hmm.
which to me is a little bit weird because I would have thought they would have done a little bit more, instead of just having that huge Hurricanes logo in the back facing whoever team,
Yeah.
that's like the first thing you see.
Maybe they'll change it. Again, they just started. They're not even starting at the beginning of the season. They're starting several games into the season. Again, I think it's odd timing for this, but I'm just hoping whenever our deal is up with them, we'll just have the Hurricanes own, the Hurricanes do their own thing like some other teams do. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And another thing too, this is pure comedy right here. I just want to get to it. But I don't know if you saw the video of the Hurricanes players coming out of practice and
Mm-hmm.
were asked about which Hurricanes player they trust flying a plane on.
Oh yes, I did see that.
That
What
was
was it?
so funny.
I think like the common answer was like Burns and Slavin, and then the least common, and everyone said not Jarvis.
Yeah, no, Jarvis.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I mean, it's funny because wasn't he the one that got like a new car recently or something?
Possibly, I don't know. I don't pay that
Yeah.
much attention to their personal lives.
Well, it's always interesting, but to me at least. But it was just so funny. Everybody was like saying not Jarvis, and then at the end, Jarvis says, "What was it, Sam?
Oh, and then
I'm
you say not
terrible."
me. Yeah, I'm a terrible driver. I'm a terrible, like not me.
Yeah,
Something like
that's the
that. Yeah,
clean version because he obviously put in a huge
expletive.
expletive. Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny.
I love Jarvis, man. He's great. But yeah, that's the only hurricane stuff I wanted to just touch up on. Again, just some comedic stuff in there because not really much happened in the past 3 days.
Yep.
But we like Sam. We like to have some comedy in our episodes, don't we?
Try to.
Yeah, I hate you already inserted it in as the greatest Sam before we
Yeah,
recorded.
yeah, I did.
Yeah, where you see Sam Driscoll, he tried to be funny and said the better Sam.
Well, it's just true.
No, it's not. But I'll let it slide. This time. Now, if we lose the next game, which is Calgary, and we cover that game, I might
well,
change my name to the better Sam.
well, one thing about Calgary, and we'll just a quick preview of that game because
Yeah, let's do that.
or a quick thing. Well, not even a preview because when you listen to this, it'll be afterwards. But just an aside, either by the time you listen to this, the Calgary Flames will get their second overtime loss or first regulation loss because they have yet to lose in regulation time, or Carolina will go back to 500 hockey. Carolina's won 2 of 3 on the road. I feel they need to get one more win. I would like for it to be against Calgary because I still don't think Calgary's that good of a team. I just think they're having a very good start to the season.
That's what I'm concerned about.
So the question is, does a good start keep going? Does it end tonight? Maybe this is just a better team than we all think. I don't know. But I view this game as a winnable game for Carolina, and we'll just have to wait and see. And as of now, an hour from where we are. So, Sam, we got to get going if we want to watch this game.
Yeah, I know. And we'll try to get this quick, but Kuchekhov starting against Calgary.
Yep. So
Which
we'll
to me
see how it does.
a little bit surprised me because I thought and we'll recap the Edmonton game, but I thought Anderson stood on his head almost after those 2 goals.
They're probably viewing this road trip as a
Experiment.
no,
Probably.
I think they're viewing this road trip as a we're rotating our goalies in this road trip regardless.
We'll see how the Calgary game does. But that's pretty much it for league news and Hurricanes news in general. Now we're going to recap the great overtime win against Edmonton. But before we do, let's get to a couple of our sponsors. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping on the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
What gets me excited about watching hockey is the fast-paced nature of the sport. Woo! Yes, that was Sam Driscoll, our other co-host that you heard. In fact, that is what got me sold when one of the first batch of games I watched was Game 7 between the Hurricanes and the Oilers back in 2006. Now, when it comes to going to Hurricane games, I am able to see quite a few great deals I'd like to go to in the future using the Game Time app. One of its features that I like to use are the seat views because it helps me visualize what I will be seeing when I'm sitting in that particular seat. Another key feature I like is the all-in pricing that shows your total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. It is game time, isn't it?
It is. It is almost game time. But before then, we're going to talk about the game you and I were starting to think we were wasted our time watching.
Yes, because it is a late game, and Sam, we value sleep. We thought this game was going to go south, and to be honest, Sam, I think if we had lost this game, it would have been one of the most frustrating games because this was a game of missed chances.
Yep.
We could not finish these chances.
Nope, could finish the chances, missed the net, or freaking Skinner was playing out of his mind. Because Skinner made some good saves as well. I mean, when we beat him, they weren't his fault, right? I mean, we got great chances. We finally buried a few of them, but Skinner did play really, really well. And honestly, when we played well, didn't capitalize, but then Edmonton got their chances. Freddie Anderson kept us in the game.
He really did. And in that first period, honestly, Sam, I thought Edmonton was playing the best right off the start. Like they dominated the Hurricanes, I thought. Hurricanes were flat through the first, I say, probably 10, 15 minutes. Then the Hurricanes, I thought, got up to speed. But during that time, you have Connor McDavid scoring. My guess is with him scoring these two goals, the only two goals Edmonton was able to get, he looked at his stats against the Hurricanes and it was like, oh, I'm pissed.
Look, Edmonton's a good hockey team. They're going to figure it out. They're struggling right now, but they're a team that's just made it to the Stanley Cup finals. They are a team that wants to get back there again because they feel they can win. I think Edmonton has some weaknesses. Goaltending, I still believe, is one of those glaring weaknesses for them. I think their defense might be a problem there, but they have some good firepower on the blue line. That's for sure. They're a team that can. They're one of the few that can outscore any defensive or goaltending problems. But if you stymie the offense, they're in trouble. And that's what Carolina did. At the end of the day, Carolina, I believed going into this game, and I told you that we have the better goaltender, and Freddie Anderson, or even if it was Kochetkov, I do believe those are better goalies than the goaltenders that Edmonton has. But again, they only scored 2, and if it wasn't for our goaltending being better, and having a significantly better defensive style game, I think this is a game we lose because Edmonton had a lot of really good opportunities, and Connor McDavid had multiple opportunities to add that third goal.
Oh, he did. And I mean, in that first period, I just remember you have Roslovic and Jury missing wide open nets.
Yep.
And it was getting so frustrating. It's like, you have to bury these chances.
Yeah.
Like it's really one of those games where if you don't bury just a few of these chances, it can hurt you. We saw that against St. Louis, I would say, and we kind of got away with it in Pittsburgh.
We did, but we were the better team in Pittsburgh too. Like we have a better
We
roster,
were.
I think, than Pittsburgh. But Edmonton's a really good team, and I think we were able to take advantage of the fact that they're just struggling out of the gate. And I remind everybody they struggled out of the gate last year, and we all were writing their obituary, and they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. So I'm not writing their obituary this year. Not
No,
now.
I'm not either.
They'll
No.
figure it out. I'd be more worried about Toronto getting shellacked by the Columbus Blue Jackets than I would be about Edmonton losing to the Carolina Hurricanes. In overtime, by the way, right? Edmonton gets a point out of that. And I think, again, it was a story of missed opportunities. Empty net missed off the post. It just weren't able to, because in the first period alone, what was it? 3 empty nets and complete misses by Roslovic, Drury, and Martinuk. I mean,
Yes.
one of those has got to go in. You cannot miss all 3 of them.
Yes, and I do want to mention the top line. I actually thought the top line was good in the first period, but to me, after that, I didn't think they got to their game. That's just me. After that first period, but in the second period, Sam, you had McDavid scoring again. That made it 2-0. And at that point, Sam, we were like, okay, this could turn ugly.
Yeah,
because
it
Edmonton's fast. They really are.
Edmonton's fast, and we gave them plenty of opportunities on the power play.
Yes, yeah, we definitely.
Even though they are ranked last, on the power play, which is a shock.
Yeah, well, there was one penalty Brind'Amour did not like.
No, he did not. He lost it. Look, I love when our coach gets passionate. I do.
I do too.
He just needs to be a tad careful so he doesn't get himself in trouble. But I like the fire. I like the fire. Look, I criticize Rod on style of play, but no one can criticize his care and passion for the game and the team. And it just goes back to replay, right? A quick replay of that would have shown nothing happened. Like it wasn't a penalty. And I agree with Rod. Take one of the refs off the ice and put him in the box, or put him up in the on video review, right? And then you don't even have to do replay. He can say that's not a penalty, and all that happens is you get a face-off 30 seconds later. It's not going to slow the game down so much where it's like, oh my gosh, what are we doing, right? And then if you've got him up there in the box and it's a penalty, he can stop play, right? You hit the little button, sounds the horn, play stops, penalty called, goes to the box. Right? It takes off a lot of possible error. So I agree with Rod in this sense that that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I believe it was the hook on Seth Jarvis
that
he didn't like.
It wasn't a hook. I don't blame him.
No, it really wasn't. But in the third period, as we were getting ready to watch possibly the end of the game, disappointed, Shane Gostisbehere scores once again for the Hurricanes from Netches and Aho. What's interesting is I believe in the third period we started seeing the line shuffle.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and they're going to be different for this game against Calgary too.
Oh, I did not see the projected lineup against Calgary.
Yeah, I'll
Svetch, Aho, and Roslovic, Robinson, KK. Okay. Yep, they are different.
Yep, so it's a little different of a roster here. So I like it personally. I think change is good.
And I will admit, Jarvis can play both that stall Martin type of game and be up in the top.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right now. Jarvis needs to get off that line. This is one of the things that drives me crazy about Rod. You wanted a skilled guy there, should have freaking kept Nino Niederreiter. What the hell are you doing? Get him off. He's not going to score 30 goals there. Get him off that line. 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 Put him up on the second line. Put Robinson on that line. I don't care who you put on that line. Put Blake on that line. I don't care who goes there, but it cannot be anybody in your top 6. Martin can't be in the top 6, and none of your top 6 should be on that stall line. Just shouldn't. That wasn't the problem. So one, I don't know why they mixed that up. If you want to do some changes, Roslovic up, Svech down, Jarvis down. I don't care. I hate having Jarvis with the stall line. I hate it with a passion. Now, I could get made to be look like a fool when you hear this tomorrow and Jarvis does
You
some
could.
awesome,
You could.
but that's not where you're going to get points. It's not where he's going to get points, right? We did it last year and he didn't get points on that line. So
Yeah,
look,
he I mean, he didn't.
I don't care if he plays that way. Good for him. Rod, stop stifling the skill and the offensive talent. This is where I will criticize him. Stop stifling our talent. You stifle them by putting them on that line because they aren't there to score. They're there to keep the puck out of our zone. And Jarvis shouldn't be subject to that. He is a highly skilled offensive player who can put the puck in the net. He needs to play with guys who understand that, and that's their job, to get him the puck. Get him the heck off that stall line. You want to do it for a game? Fine. That can't be a reality. That cannot be a regular thing. Cannot.
I view it the same way as I do with Martinook being on the Aho Jarvis line. It has to be a short-term thing. Can't be long-term.
And extremely short term. I don't like it. It doesn't do you any good. It does not help you. It does not fix the fact that you can't score at all. It does not fix it. It doesn't rectify the fact that we don't do that. All that does is you stifle a player's ability to show their skill. Again, you wanted an offensive player on that line? Should have manned up and paid Nino Niederreiter instead of
That's
letting him
not
walk.
Brendan Moore's job, though. That's
Nope,
Dundon.
that's Tulski. That's well,
Tulski,
not no
yeah.
now it's Tulski, but that's on Dundon and Waddell at the time, and Tulski now. Should have paid Niederreiter. You wanted an offensive guy on there? Stop trying to shoehorn our talented players into a role they're not meant to play, because they shouldn't be playing there. They should be out trying to put the puck in the net. That's why we gave Jarvis the contract. You don't pay a guy almost $8 million to go out and play on the stall line. You pay him to put the puck in the net. Those are the guys that get paid. It's just a fact. If you want to pay someone like that to play on the stall line, what are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you doing? And if I'm Tulski, I call Rod and say, we're paying that dude a lot of money. What are you doing? He needs to be playing top minutes. We're paying him to play top minutes, paying him to put the puck in the net. We're not paying him to keep the puck out of the zone.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you there. And he does play well with Stahl and Martinook just because of that style of play. I'm not saying that I like that line. It's just that fact that he does play well, whether he's getting the points or not. And but that's kind of what the lineup was in the third period. But somehow we found a way, Sam, and we tied the game with Natchez scoring from Robinson and KK. And I believe the KK line was the only line intact because you had, or no, maybe you did put Robinson up on that second line.
Yep.
Yeah, you did.
Because
Robinson was the one that shot the puck to Natchez for the tip in for the tying goal. That was great.
Yep.
I was so happy. But we've seen that before against St. Louis. So we I kind of tampered my expectations a bit. I don't know if you did, but we saw that against St. Louis. I was like, gotta get this to overtime. It's a Western Conference team. If we get a point, I'm fine with it.
Yep.
And they do.
Yep. Gets a point. At that point, it's whatever, move on if you lose. But a player who had not been playing very well in that game, because I think Aho had probably one of his worst periods in the third, probably one of his
he
worst
was
games.
bad in the third. Very bad in the third.
Started off with a perfect pass from Shane Gostisbehere to dump the puck in, keep the puck in to Natchez, to Aho at the end of overtime, 6 seconds left. Natchez to Aho for the bomb into the back of the net. And Skinner face plants the ice, and Carolina gets the extra point in overtime in Edmonton. And that's always a good feeling when you get to go into a arena like that and a team like that and get the extra point and win the game, especially when you were down and they completed the comeback.
Yeah, that was just amazing. I was so happy. I didn't think they were going to win that game, even going into overtime. And with it being 7 seconds left, too, I was not confident going into the shootout against the likes of McDavid or Decidal.
No.
I don't know. I don't care how good of a goalie we have. You're going up against McDavid or Decidal. It's going to be hard. That's just the fact.
Yeah, for sure.
But we were able to do it in overtime, and Sam Aho needed that goal because he only got an empty net goal, and that was against New Jersey. And and I thought it was interesting with what Adam Gold said on his most recent episode covering that game about like Aho, Svetch, Jarvis, with all these players leaving, there's more weight on their shoulders.
Yep.
And while I do think there is more weight on their shoulders this season, they started out with a lot of that weight on their shoulders the first time they entered into the playoffs.
Yep.
Because that wasn't really if you look at the roster, I mean, that wasn't a star-studded roster. Just wasn't.
Well, some bracket luck along with it, but
I mean, I just found it interesting just to kind of humanize the players a little bit, and I do think Aho, Svetch, and Jarvis. I do think in this season in particular, probably do put a little bit more pressure on themselves. But you gotta, I mean, with that pressure, Sam, you gotta prove it because you're seeing as these top players. Yep. I mean, what do you think about that pressure mentality thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be there. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. These guys are counted upon because, like he says, there's not a lot of depth below the top 6. But I can also tell you now, I don't know if spreading the offense out is going to work either. Maybe that's what Rod's doing by putting Jarvis on that line, but I just don't think that works. I don't think it ever works. And again, this team is good enough to probably get in the playoffs, but other than that, when you look at everybody else, you can't tell me we're better than the Rangers. I don't care if we beat Edmonton tonight. I don't know if we're better than the Oilers. I don't know if we're better than Dallas. I know we're not better than Dallas. We're not better than the Panthers. I mean, it's just you don't have a guy. And if your answer is to spread the offense out, you don't have what you need to win, and at least to go all the way. But we'll see what happens with this shuffling and see if it stays this way, see if it works. Again, Jarvis could play well there. I just don't think it's a long-term solution. Maybe you get a point tonight, fine. But again, that line's not designed to score.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree. I thought the Stahl, Martin, Carrier line was doing really well. I really do. And Rod changes it up. Again, like, I do think Jarvis does do well on that line because I think he performs well, and you can still perform well without getting goals. But at the same time, is that the best for him?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Also, just got to remember what you're paying him. Are you paying him to play on the third line, or do you want to pay him to play on the second or first line? He should be in the top 6. You're giving him top 6 minutes. If you're going to keep Orlov, right? Yeah, you can't, and you're paying because you're paying him. You can't bump Jarvis because you're not, right? I still think Tony is a better player than Orlov, and you choose Orlov over D'Angelo last year. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I thought D'Angelo had played better than Orlov, but that doesn't matter at this point. He's got 1 year left, but you're paying a guy $8 million, almost $8 million, or whatever his contract is. You gotta play like it, and you gotta play the role of that kind of player. And a third line role is not that.
Yeah, and we're wearing the same jerseys, right, from the last game because we got the win.
I don't remember what jersey I wore last game, actually, but no,
it wasn't Kuzi.
No, that's what I'm wearing now. I think it was Aho. I have to grab that one, but I just threw this on for the podcast because it was the closest one to me.
I wore Slavin. So
yeah, I'll switch mine out
for this episode.
I'll switch mine out.
You're more superstitious than I am, man. I got such Man, I remember after that home opener, you were just like, you should not wear that Jarvis jersey.
Well, we'll see what happens.
And I did, and we won against New Jersey. Ha!
You got
Ha ha
lucky.
ha ha ha.
You got lucky.
No, I did not get lucky. Okay.
Mhm.
Carolina played a lot better of a game. It was night and day difference between New Jersey and Tampa. But we'll see how they do against Calgary, meaning that we'll cover 2 games for Monday's episode because we also have a game Saturday night, which starts at 10 p.m. Good thing it's a weekend
Yeah.
against Vancouver, I believe. I could be wrong about that.
Yep. No, it's Seattle, is it not?
Or Seattle. That's right. It was either Vancouver or Seattle, but yeah, I think it is Seattle.
I can check real fast. I think it's the Kraken.
Yeah, it's Seattle. I just looked.
Okay, I thought so.
And then Monday night at 10 p.m. is Vancouver.
I don't know if
Thankfully, I'll be able to watch that game
you off on a Tuesday?
Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There you go. So you got a 4-day weekend.
I do.
Enjoy it. All right. Are we done here?
Yeah, we are done. So we will see you guys Monday.